Since leaving Google as chairman, Eric Schmidt has wielded a $20 billion fortune to build an ecosystem of influence. And for the past 2 years, the 68-year-old committed at least $100 million to a startup accelerator called Steel Perlot, which he leads as executive chairman with CEO Michelle Ritter, a 29-year-old entrepreneur who he has been dating. Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemarie Miller here with David Jeans, a senior writer here at Forbes. Thank you so much for joining me today, David.
Thanks.
So, David, for starters, who is Eric Schmidt?
So, Eric Schmidt was the longtime CEO of Google, and then he went on to become the chairman before leaving a few years ago. In recent years, he's sort of crafted this image of himself as a Silicon Valley statesman and also an influential person in government in terms of advising on policy around tech and AI and national security. And he's done this by building an immense portfolio of companies and funds and philanthropic ventures that he's backed with his family fortune. So especially as the debate around AI has heated up this year, he's become an even more consequential figure. And we've seen him do a lot of work to especially, build out more of these businesses.
So, David, what do we know about Steel Perlot? And could you tell me who is Michelle Ritter?
So, Steel Perlot is a company that Eric Schmidt started in 2021 with a woman that he was dating at the time called Michelle Ritter. She was an entrepreneur and a graduate of Columbia Law School. And together they launched this company with the idea that they could invest in AI companies, build companies and incubate them, kind of, sort of like Y Combinator. And also they saw it as a way to build a talent network of really smart, intelligent people where they could perhaps, foster innovation and create new ventures, whether that be like new philanthropic arms, or whether that be creating a virtual reality company or something to address banking issues. Like it was supposed to be like an ideas hub where they could do this. But the major thing about Steel Perlot was that Eric, as we reported, went to commit at least $100 million to this venture.
$100 million. Well, you also spoke with Michelle Ritter, right? Could you tell us a little bit about that conversation you had with her?
Yeah, so the thing that we set out to do with this story was to try and understand what exactly it was that Steel Perlot is and does, and what its purpose was, and more broadly how it fit into the ecosystem of Schmidt companies and entities that he oversees. And so as part of that, it was important for us to talk to Michelle, in her role as CEO of the company, what the goal of the company was, how it was financed, and how they made decisions on investments. It was also important for us to understand whether or how, the dynamic around the fact that they had been dating and while also leading a company, with dozens of employees, and how that dynamic played out. When I spoke to Michelle, she shared a lot about sort of what her background, some of the work that she'd done, the ideas that she had. She talked about this one venture that she'd come up with called StarX, which was a fan engagement platform that she had been working on since college. And she mentioned to me that was a program that now is in beta testing with FIFA. She also had mentioned to me that there was a wealth management and asset management platform that she was overseeing at Steel Perlot, and that it was managing about $450 million. However, we later found out, upon when we wanted to get more details about this asset management platform, Michelle later clarified to us that actually the money that she said she'd been managing, it was only committed via a letter of intent, which means that the money wasn't currently being managed by Steel Perlot. So there were some specifics around that we just had to iron out through the reporting process, and that was the result of having extensive conversations with her about how she was leading the company.
And so what do the employees have to say about the company?
So we did speak to quite a few employees to try and understand how the company was run, and what, or if it was successful in what it had set out to do. Some of the feedback that we did receive that revolved around the fact that it was often hard to understand what some of the business ventures were and whether they were successful. There was quite a high turnover rate, and some of the employees said that often the CEO, Michelle, had said that there was influential people like Jeff Bezos or Michael Bloomberg that had been committed or involved in the company. And, you know, later when we asked Michelle about that, she said that there was no formal partnerships. There was also, you know, I think that there was one quote that we included in the story, and that was that one employee told us that they felt that they had sort of entered Steel Perlot thinking that it was an opportunity to work with Eric Schmidt and, you know, his concept to fund the future, but they left with a feeling that, in fact, they'd been working for more or less a vanity project.
Wow. And does Schmidt typically mix business with pleasure?
What was significant about this to us was the fact that this appeared to be the first time that he had launched a major business venture with someone that he was reported to have been dating.
And how long have they been dating?
Well, you know, both parties did not comment on the relationship or any personal relationship between them. It was reported in 2021 that they had been dating, and since then it was more or less, you know, understood that they had somewhat of a relationship. And, you know, it's not entirely clear what the current status is or how it applies to the business currently.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, David.
Thank you.